well, so let's get straight into it. We have the Wasatch Warrior IFBB Bikini competition this weekend, and what I love most about this lineup is the amount of competitors competing, and some certainly new competitors to me, so that is exciting. Now, before I get into covering the whole competitor lineup for the Wasatch Warrior, the biggest question on everyone's lips is, can anyone beat Aimee Delgado? So stay tuned and you will hear my thoughts on who I think can be the biggest threat to Aimee. But whilst we're on the topic of Aimee Delgado, we have to ask, why is she the favourite heading into this show? Now, most of you could say it's because she placed 6th at last year's Olympia, and yes, I do also agree with you. You could even argue she should have placed higher at the Olympia, but that's a whole nother topic. But I think the real reason why she's such a big threat is actually more to do with how fast her rise has been, which was really seen at last year's Olympia. It sort of felt like she went from sort of an unknown competitor with a lot of potential to a top Olympian overnight. And that's what I think is the real scary part. It's actually the momental rise up the ladder in such a small time frame and the improvements she's making each and every show. That's why she's a genuine threat, and I personally would even say she's an Olympia title threat this year. Not just making up the numbers, an actual threat. Remember, she almost beat Laura Lee at Olympia. That's a big deal. That's the same Laura Lee which beat Jen, Maureen and Ashley at Arnold Classic this year. Now, when we talk about her monumental rise, I want to show you how much her physique has changed in only 3 short years, literally only 3 years. So on your screen is a video of her physique from 3 years ago, and as you can see, she has a nice structure but doesn't have anywhere near the level of muscle mass she has now. So if we fast forward to some of the more recent content of her Olympia shape, you can see the astonishing transformation she has had. She's filled out her frame, she's nailing the conditioning, her glutes have stacked on the mass, her waist looks so tight, and her posing is so fluid and poised. Her and Jamie Bernard have really been getting down to work. But we've spoken about Aimee, so let's now look at the whole competitor lineup because this show is stacked. But before we get into that, guys, head over to slimtum.com, the world's #1 best waist trainer. Use code BIKININATION, you get 10% off and you get that snatched waist. So right now my personal favourite is the Pro because I personally like using it as a waist trainer or lifting belt in the gym. I will pop it up on the screen for you guys to see at home. Okay, now let's get into the lineup, and there are a couple of competitors I really want to hone in on who I think will give Aimee the biggest run for her money at this show. Before we get into the whole lineup, and that is Malu, Brit Gillespie and Jessica Wilson. So let's start with these 3. Malu Delate is actually one I've been waiting to see compete this year. She's one of those up-and-comers with the world at her feet with crazy potential. I honestly think Malu has such a crazy structure and is built for this bikini. Honestly, she looks amazing. Her waist is tiny. She has such good balance and symmetry. I want to see what off-season improvements she has made, and I honestly think if she brings up those glutes a touch more, her delts and lats a tiny bit more, she'll really move to the next level in bikini. She has all the qualities you want in a rising star. She has that wow factor. Her structure is to die for, and I think this will be a really good test for her to see how she compares to the other lovely ladies in this lineup. The next one on the list is Brit Gillespie, who has made her pre-debut at the Clash just a few weeks ago. And guys, we've already seen that she's gaining big support, and what's even better is Britney's lived up to the hype. Since turning pro, she's already extremely well developed. Like, come on, look at those glutes, they are insane. She's one who's already packed out her frame and has made huge improvements in the off-season. I think she'll be on the fast climb up the ladder this year with the rate she's moving. Her career is only just taking off. Her lower body density is just insane. I'd love to see her develop those lats a bit more to taper into the waist. I think it would really suit her structure and take her even further in this sport. Either way, I'm super excited about her at this show and would expect she would be in the first call-outs. The next person I could see probably be the biggest threat to Aimee is none other than Jessica Wilson, who is an Olympian and a veteran of the bikini division. She won the Chicago Pro last year and is always a threat in any lineup, and I'm sure this will be no exception. When you look at her physique, she really doesn't have any flaws. She's balanced, her glutes are already fire, she has that X-frame look, which we're all striving towards, and she's an amazingly good poser. I really can't fault Jessica at all. I think in some of the bigger shows she might get outsized by some of the competitors, but I think in this lineup it really works to her advantage. I'm fully expecting Jess to also be in that first call out and pushing for a win at this show, and I would not be surprised at all. The other dark horse in this competition is Savannah Watchman, who also turned pro last year. She has a really great structure and is one of the more jacked competitors in this lineup, from her upper body to her lower body. Now that being said, this can either go in her benefit or go against her depending on how the rest of the competitors come in. She's one I'm eager to see and haven't seen too much on her, but she has a bit of hype around her, so I will be watching. But as we know guys, this is bikini, and we know there's always twists and turns and great competitors that can come out of nowhere in this sport, which makes it even more exciting. So let's get into the rest of the lineup. We have Deborah Becker, who is an impressive Masters competitor, and let me tell you, you would not expect she's a Masters competitor looking at her body. She recently competed at the Clash, and looking at her photos, she really nails that conditioning. I'd love to see her try and make those glutes pop a bit more for this show, but super excited to see her because I don't know too much about Deborah. Kimber Bonilla competed only last weekend in the UK. As some of you probably know, she recently married Adam Bonilla, one of the top coaches in the world. She got feedback to come in with the darker tan and tighter glute tie-ins, which I'm sure she'll do. I love that small waist on her. She's really brought the muscle gains in the rear pose and upper body since last year. I'm really excited to see how she places in this show, because if she can crack into the first call-outs, that would be a big win for her and her momentum for the rest of the season. Treasure Boston, now I don't know too much about her, but she made her bikini pro debut in 2022, but she was actually training for wellness before this. I couldn't find any stage shots, but this should give you an idea of Treasure's physique. Alex Carrera will be making her pro debut. What an amazing moment for this lady. She already appears to have filled out her frame pretty well for a pro debutante, and I'm really excited to see how she goes. She has those deep tie-ins and hamstring lines. I want to see what improvements she has made since the MPC. Jackie Cheney, wow, she has such a pretty look, which is really well suited to bikini. Again, another competitor I don't know all too much about. I'm excited to see what she does at this show. Looking at her rear shot, if she's able to add more muscle mass to her glutes, I think she'll really take her body to that next level. Her physique has a nice flow to it, and just with a bit more muscle mass, I think it will look stunning. Stacey Carrera is still fairly new to the pro scene and has this lovely overall presence. I've thrown up the last photos I could find from her MPC days, but I'm super excited to see how her body has evolved since these pics. I'd love to see some more muscle density to come in more condition to really see her structure pop. It looks like one which could really have that wow factor. Tanisha Gaddis also recently competed at the Clash, and it looks like she's been hard at work to present an even better Tony to the stage. Like a lot of the ladies in this lineup, I think she needs to bring up her glutes a bit more, but that rear shot is killer. I don't know too much about Hailey Howe, but it appears she's not competed since earning her pro card in 2020, where I have thrown up the photos on the screen for you guys to see at home. She actually has quite a nice flow to her physique. It even reminds me a little bit of Romina. Now, Nicole Johnson is one hell of a boss lady. Not only is she a mum of 5, but she's also over 40 years old. But talk about body goals. I think she puts a lot of these young 20s to shame of how amazing her beauty and physique is. If I were to guess, I would even say she's in her late 20s, but she's in her 40s. Literally, that is such a beautiful thing to witness. Natalie Matthews is also known as the Fit Vegan Chef, is another competitor that I've been super eager to see to compete. She actually has a really good Instagram with almost 100k followers and does lots of vegan meal prep videos, which is great to see if you are a vegan or vegetarian yourself. She has a nice silhouette to her body, but it's hard to judge until I see her up against the other ladies. Kiki McLennan is a member of the Team Pro Physique and you guessed it, also competed at the Clash. I haven't seen too much of Kiki, but I'm impressed to see what she does. Her body seems to naturally have a nice taper from the lats to the waist, which pops at the hips, which you know I love. Ruth Montez competed 7 times last year with her best placing being 3rd at the Arizona Pro. Let's see what goals she can achieve in 2023. You probably already know the name Yukachi because she made her pro debut at the Arnold Classic just this year and absolutely nailed it after winning the Arnold Amateur the year before. I love her chiseled abs and popping delts. She's still at the beginning of her career, so it'll be really interesting to see what changes she's made since the Arnold and if she can reach the next level. Now Kathy Seitz got a bronze medal at her 2nd ever pro show and she could really come in and move up the rankings. She is pretty well built and has broad shoulders and is coached by Paul Revalier at Team Pro Physique. I'm not familiar with Marisol Souza, but it looks like she turned pro in 2021 and this will be her first show as a pro. So you know I always have a soft spot for pro debutantes because this is the warm up to their career. What I love about her physique is she seems to have already developed that lower body with muscle density, which we know takes time to grow, so I'm super impressed. Carly Stevenson earned her pro card only last year, but she has the tools to go a lot further in the sport. If you look at her frame and her look, it screams bikini. I think she still needs a bit more time to develop her lower body, but I think she has so much potential that I think I just cannot wait to see her unleashed. This is another one to keep your eyes on. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, all the good stuff. Over and out from Bikini Nation.